Why the allure of Ladakh? My first visit was 2003. I remember it vividly because the whole place is vivid. The air is clean, the skies are clear, and there's always a nip in the air. And whenever I lift my camera to my eye, it makes me take a second look at the view to make sure that what I'm shooting is really there. It's so colorful, so vivid. Always a wow factor of 100. The result of that and subsequent visits is a great desire to revisit.
We've arrived in Leh, 11,500 feet. Beautiful sunshine, low on oxygen, but low on pollution too.
Gerard and Fusing making their first trip here. We load the taxis and head into Leh. Ladakh is not only the highest part of India, it contains the second coldest inhabited place in the world, Dras, the highest bridge in the world, and the highest road at 18,350 feet. The guidebooks advise visitors to rest for a few hours before attempting any hiking. And from my own experience, I've seen people get altitude sickness the first day because they were a little too adventurous. So we had a relaxing cup of tea and a chat. Our hotel, the Galdan, right in the center of town. Great location. Our old friend Elijah welcomes us. And we are soon exploring. The castle and the palace are right opposite the hotel. But first things first, we walk around the corner to the summer harvest and greet old friends.
This is the Summer Harvest restaurant in Leh, a Tibetan restaurant. It's the best restaurant in Leh. It has the best food, and I always love to come here, and we're going to show you some of the food.
The man chow soup, mushroom chicken soup, chicken with cashew nuts, fried rice, chicken and veg momos with a spicy sauce made from onion, garlic, red chili and coriander. Tandoori chicken. Honey crispy chicken. Manchuria chicken. And tandoori trout caught up in the mountain streams.
Plenty of shopping here. The local handicrafts especially, really interesting, if not to buy, just to look at. One of the great advantages of this hotel here is that it's right in the middle of the town. Close to the restaurants, close to the shopping, close to the palace.
The rooms are spacious, clean and comfortable. And the management very friendly and helpful. We then took our first trip up to the castle on top of a hill overlooking Leh. It's the highest point in Leh, and judging from its altitude, is probably in excess of 12,000 feet. Excellent photo viewpoint. Leh below, and the mountains of Ladakh all around. It's a popular tourist destination and can be reached on foot from Leh, or if you've just arrived and are not acclimatized, take a car. The castle complex also comprises a Buddhist monastery that was being renovated, and I was invited to put some finishing touches to the statue. Here's the shot of the celebrated artists who worked on the statue. We then climbed to the very top. It was a fun time. Sunset, not too bad. Views over the city well worth the climb. Next stop, Shanti Stupa. Shanti meaning peace, built by a Japanese Buddhist and inaugurated by the present Dalai Lama in 1991. It affords great views over Leh and the mountains. A great first day. Part of the allure of Ladakh is the contrast to the rest of the country. It's a desert. I've never seen any smog here. The skies are usually clear, and the average sunshine per day is about 8 hours, and visibility 5 miles.
Today we're going to take a trip east and go visit the Hemis Monastery, an ancient monastery, the Palace of Shea, the Thikse Monastery too, and maybe even another monastery up at Stock. We'll get some superb views out of the hills. The sun has come out. We're really looking forward to today. Are you enjoying Ladakh?
Yes, very much.
We hired a car, and off we go. East down the Manali Road as Leh wakes up. White clouds filling the blue skies. Clearly, this place is very Buddhist and culturally very much like Western Tibet. As we venture out of Leh, we are reminded this is actually a desert. Rainfall being only 4 inches a year, falling mainly in the summer. Having said that, we had had a little rain in the morning, and that gave us interesting skies on the horizon. We soon arrived at Thikse Monastery, which is about 12 miles east of Leh. The rising sun shining in its face, and took advantage of the morning sunlight to get some great shots of this monastery, which is said to resemble the Potala Palace in Tibet.
We're at the Thikse Monastery on a beautiful day, And this is one of the most iconic places in Ladakh in all the guidebooks. But here you can see why.
It's the largest Gumpa in Ladakh and soars to a height of 12 stories. Surrounded by snow-capped mountains, it's a popular pilgrimage destination. And we came across a devotee saying his morning prayers. The prayer wheel, containing prayers believed to be released as the wheel is spun. In his hands, prayer beads, or malas. Buddhist tradition sets the number of beads at 108, signifying the mortal desires of men. He was a very nice man and we had a chat. Above us, the monastery. Dr. Alex translated for me what he'd told him.
This brother says that he prays every day and counts his beads and rotates the prayer wheel every day. He says the more you do, the more blessings you will get. And he believes that by doing this kind of prayer, his life after death will be impacted. The more you do, the better will be your future.
पैदा हो जाएगा ना
उसी वक्त हो जाएगा या कई साल के बाद?
नहीं अब कम ऐसा कर दे तो जल्दी आ जाएगा.
Okay, if he continues to pray, he said the reincarnation will be sooner than later.
He shared his hopes with us. We travel not only to see places but also to meet the people, to understand them, their culture, their religion, their hopes and their dreams. We enjoyed chatting, and we enjoyed the amazing views. The diversity of India is sometimes incredible. These 8 stupas or chotan all have meaning. They're all different, representing events in the Buddha's life. So we continue our journey through the desert, making a stop to take on water. After all, we're in the desert. That done, we press on, following the path of the Indus River, before crossing the river and heading up into the mountains. I can tell you the most used word on this trip is wow. There'd been a slight snowfall in the night, and it had stayed on the mountain tops. We were soon reaching the Hemis Monastery that commands great views over the Himalayan mountains. Over these hills lies the Hemis National Park, a home to the endangered snow leopard up in these very mountains. Entry fee 100 rupees, free for local people. Views free for everybody. All I can say is if you like these shots, imagine what it's actually like to be there. I can tell you it's magical. The famous monastery built in 1672 hides among the hills, a feature which had saved it from plundering invaders in the past, due to the fact that it is hidden from the plain by a narrow valley. Not the usual design of a Gumpa, but in the Ladakhi style. It's certainly a peaceful place. The sky is what I call Ladakhi blue. Inside they were having a service. Outside, the prayer wheels beckoned. A community has grown up around the monastery. It's an interesting place to visit. I even met a couple from England and had a chat.
It's a fantastic, peaceful location. Plenty of mountains, plenty of sunshine. People are fantastic up here. Really enjoying it.
So we set off back to Thikse, passing through some amazing scenery. The Indus River at this time of the year, surrounded by autumn trees. Buddhist prayer flags fluttering in the breeze as the legendary river makes its way from Tibet to the Arabian Sea. Colourful scenery as we then return to Thikse to go up to the top of the Gumpa and once again enjoy the amazing views. We're confronted by mountains, plains, and a desert with a river running through it that is surrounded by trees. I can't help thinking that this view has probably changed little in the last 1,000 years. The occasional house, and that's about all is here. Once in the monastery, we get to use the toilet, which has one of the best views in the world for a toilet. This time we climb to the top. Flowers in the desert and more great views. another line of Chorten below. And a remarkable view from the top. After enjoying a snack in their cafe, we head back to Leh, stopping at Shea Palace on the way. The ancient Shea Palace is about 20 minutes out of Leh and was the summer capital of Ladakh. It was first built in 1655 by the King of Ladakh and was used as a summer retreat. It's right on the main road and commands great views over the Indus Valley. In a desert, water is of great importance, and its proximity on a hillock next to the river affords it both protection and a good water supply. The fertile fields surrounding it also add to its strategic location. Then back to Leh. It's a little known fact that the Dalai Lama has a summer home near Leh, just up from the Shea Palace, right on the main road, with a large area outside used for special meetings. As we head back to Leh, we are traveling an ancient thoroughfare, the flat, straight road through the mountains, unchanged in centuries. It's been a great day, and we've all thoroughly enjoyed the scenery and the history of this place. Next morning it's time to leave. We've had another great stay in Ladakh.
July.
The early morning flight as usual. Some last pictures. Then back to Delhi. The usual route over the mountains. The influence of the Indus River clearly visible. The majestic Himalaya, raw beauty. So I'll let you enjoy the views and Rachel's music. We've certainly had another great stay in Ladakh. We had just been in Ladakh, northern India, and had flown back to New Delhi.
About to go to Pune.
Destination Panchgani, on a men-only flight. Maybe. Being British, I have this affinity for hill stations, and Panchgani in Maharashtra is a hill station renowned for its great scenery. We've booked 2 cars and are looking forward to the trip.
Just arrived in Pune. It's been raining, but it's okay now.
We have a 3-hour trip up to the 4,500-foot hill station, stopping for a coffee on the way. We're booked into the luxury Ravine Hotel, and as it's late, enjoy a great meal in the restaurant there. It's certainly a very nice hotel. I'd been told about the views, but as we had arrived at night, it was next morning, as I opened the curtains, that I set eyes on this amazing sight. The clouds below floating through the valley, and occasionally covering the hotel. Where exactly is Panchgani? It's 250 kilometers south of Bombay and 100 kilometers from Pune. India is certainly diverse in its scenery. After the desert and snow of Ladakh, the lush greenery and swirling clouds are in stark contrast. What spectacular views! I woke up to these views at 6:15 a.m. The breakfast terrace below my room, the clouds intermittently encroaching on the gardens as the grey langur monkeys play in the trees. Though it looks cold, it's quite warm. We enjoyed a great breakfast with superb scenery, quite unlike most parts of India. Time to explore, and first stop is the nearby Sydney Point. Below us is our hotel, and from this vantage point, we can see even more of the great views over the Dome Lake and Krishna River. Places like this highlight a totally different aspect of India. The lakes, the greenery, the mountains, in stark contrast to places like Ladakh and the plains of central India.
Woke up this morning at 6:15 and saw some tremendous views over Panchgani from the hotel room nearby. And now I'm on top of a hill nearby. Behind me this hill station of Panchgani, which we will explore today.
The Krishna River was dammed in 1976 to create Dome Dam, a location that's being used for many Bollywood films and has become a popular tourist attraction. I met a group of film stars when I was there. Then on to our next location. The weather very pleasant at this time of the year, October. We soon reached Tableland, one of the largest plateaus in India. The name Panchgani can mean 5 hills, or perhaps 5 plateaus. Tableland offers a number of tourist activities: the horse riding, horse and carts, the great scenery, even caves to explore. There's recently been a Hindu festival, and Paul explains what happened.
In the middle of the lake, you see a submerged item. That's an idol of the deity Durga. And what the locals tell me is that after the festival in the month of September and October of Ganpati and Durga Puja, they get the idols from the local and surrounding villages and they bring and immerse in this lake. And what you see in the middle is one of those huge idols which is submerged, and only the top portion of the crown is visible.
The adventurous tourists try the horse riding. The less adventurous plump for the relative comfort of a horse and cart. Though it's not always comfortable. We decided on a pleasant stroll, taking in the sights. The 5 hills surrounding Panchgani are topped by a volcanic plateau, which, believe it or not, is actually the second highest in Asia after the Tibetan Plateau. From here we can clearly see the other plateaus. Tableland has been the location of many Bollywood movies. The ice cream was great. The horses were getting their morning bath, and Gerard and Fusheng were enjoying the sights. They include the infamous macaque monkeys, indigenous to most parts of India, who as usual are getting up to all kinds of mischief. A very pleasant visit, after which one can buy strawberries and the local black raspberries and have a sugarcane drink. This vendor was adding ginger to the mix.
He drank it and he's still alive.
Panchgani is well known for its strawberries, and next stop was the Mapro Strawberry Farm. Strawberry ice cream being a favorite, but their toasted sandwiches and pizzas were excellent too. Then on to another landmark in Mahabaleshwar, 5 miles to the west of Panchgani, to see spectacular views over the dam below from a viewpoint named Kate's Point, after the daughter of the British governor.
This is actually Echo Point, where we can get an echo if we call loudly, but the views here are just amazing.
Great views in all directions. The monkeys never far away. Then we had a brief stop in the town of Mahabaleshwar before returning to the hotel for dinner. Tandoori chicken, garlic naan, chicken tikka masala, and gulab jamun. Another great day in India. Today we have to leave to return to Bombay. We've thoroughly enjoyed our time in Panchgani, but we have a 5-hour road trip ahead of us and need to leave early. The Ravine Hotel was an excellent choice, and we enjoyed every minute. We planned to stop off in Lonavala, another hill station about 60 miles south of Bombay, nowadays a popular tourist spot. Though it was raining when we arrived, so we made a quick stop to see the views from here as we headed towards Bombay. By the time we reached Bombay, it was getting dark, so we checked into our hotel and then had dinner in the home of our good friend John and his family. What a spread! Butter chicken, tandoori, South Indian rice, okra, known as ladies' fingers, naan, fried mackerel, spinach, dal, more, and soup. Now we're ready to explore Bombay tomorrow. As Bombay wakes up, we enjoy a great breakfast. Then downtown to visit the old part of the city. I always find Indian roads fascinating. There's such diversity. Busy. I always get the feeling that the drive to work is a car race for most drivers. This is a vibrant, constantly changing city. Surrounded by the Arabian Sea, it's become India's most important commercial and industrial city, and is certainly its most populated. Our first stop is for lunch in the famous Leopold restaurant. I think more than any place I've been to here, this typifies Bombay, the clatter of cutlery, 100 conversations competing. Einstein telling us gravitation is not responsible for people falling in love. What rubbish! Of course it is. I love this place. The atmosphere is like a Chinese tea house on steroids, and the food was great. Then I get to see historic Bombay, a small piece of Victorian England uncluttering up a small piece of yuppie India. The Bombay Municipal Corporation building, magnificent, and the railway station, prominent. Formerly known as Victoria Terminus, and now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Get your selfie here. This is the city centre, and busy as usual. The station took 10 years to build. The buildings here, predominantly the Victorian Gothic style. The lion and tiger outside, representing Britain and India. Inside, it's again magnificent, more akin to a church than a railway station. It may not be the biggest in India, but it's certainly the most beautiful, and it's said to bear a resemblance to St Pancras Station in London. Though I can't remember that being this beautiful. Inside it has 18 platforms, 7 for local trains and 11 for intercity trains. If it looks familiar, it may be because you saw it on Slumdog Millionaire. Underpasses allow the passengers to enter and exit quickly. Victorian Bombay is still the predominant style around here. So our journey continues. Next stop is the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel. Nowadays, simply the Taj. 560 rooms, 44 suites, and 1,600 staff. And it's right next to the Gateway of India.
Gateway to India. They built this in honor of my visit today.
Actually, it was built to commemorate the landing in India of King George VI and Queen Mary in 1911. Note that it was not here when they landed. It was not finished until 1924, but they did get to see a cardboard model of it on their visit. So we enjoyed a look around. After all, no visit to Bombay is complete without a visit to the Gateway of India. So with that, our visit was completed. Time to move on. We flew from Bombay to Chandigarh and then by road to Ludhiana, the heart of the Punjab. Textile country, busy, polluted, fascinating, great people, and always nice to come back and visit. Joginda, my faithful friend, is our driver. And I want to share with you lunch in Ludhiana with Samir and my Indian nieces. Who were not good at shooting my picture. We're at Barbecue Nation, where for $9 you can get the best meal in India under $10. Cook your own food. Chicken, prawns, fish, mushroom, pineapple, all you can eat. The staff here are the best, and it includes a drink and dessert and rice, veggie and soup. Please open one in Hong Kong. They invited me to visit the kitchen.
I need to wear the hat to visit the kitchen.
These guys were great. And you can see that we all enjoyed the food and the fun.
Okay.
Shimla. I've been here many times. This time of the year is my favorite time. It's indeed a unique place. And we always begin by visiting the famous Shimla Mall on the ridge. At this time of the year, October, always good weather. Great place for family fun. The horse ride's a great attraction. Plenty of shops to browse through. And always there are friendly people here from all walks of life. Superb scenery. Great photography. We had left Ludhiana early in the morning. It's a 5-hour journey. The first part on the plains, heading toward Chandigarh. Good roads here. Then Pinjore and Kalka. Inevitably we have to stop for the Queen. The Himalayan Queen, that is, Delhi to Kalka, one of 2 trains named that. The other is the narrow gauge train that ascends from Kalka to Shimla, that I've filmed many times.
Kalka, the gateway up to Shimla.
We now go up into the foothills of the Himalaya, the land of snow, but too early for it in October. Coffee with 3 film stars. They weren't, but they are now. Great views. And a quick snack. Up and up we go. And suddenly, Shimla is before us. It's at an altitude of 7,700 feet. The mall is about 300 feet higher than the road below. Today the lift was out of order, so we had a nice stroll up the steps. Once at the top, there are some old colonial houses that have been converted into hotels and are great places to stay. The Mall Road leads to the top. The Willow Banks, my favorite hotel, another converted home. The afternoon sunshine very pleasant. The Mall at Shimla is a favorite tourist destination, particularly for Indian people. And there's a thriving hotel business here and many shops. This was the place the British Raj chose as their summer capital from 1864 to 1939. When the heat of the summer baked the plains, the whole of the government packed up and jumped on the Himalayan Queen from Delhi to Kalka, and then boarded the toy train that brought them up to Shimla. And thus Shimla became England on the Seven Hills, right down to the neo-Gothic Christ Church, the second oldest church in North India. The Tudor-style state library is next to it.
The old summer capital of India, Shimla. A beautiful place on a beautiful day. I always enjoy to come here, but today is also Diwali, the festival of light, so we're all having a great time. Okay, is this a good place? Yeah, wonderful. It's good. It's amazing.
The Mall is a hangout place for locals and tourists alike. A viewing point over the mountains, a bird's eye view of a beautiful place. The horse rides were a great attraction. Fu Singh decided to try it. In fact, he was very good at it. Other families were having fun. Even Sonny tried it. The buildings, clearly British, still characterized the place. Back in those days, it reminded the occupants of home. Many ended up liking it more than home and never went back. Shimla police are welcoming. Not only with their sign, these two officers were polite, friendly.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Muskarao.
And also looked great in their impressive uniforms.
Is the food here good?
It is. Here is a very nice food. We are serving a very sweet things on here. We will make a people also sweet on here.
I liked his sense of humor. There are literally 360-degree views from the ridge. But it was getting late, and we headed down the steps to the shops. In Shimla, they only have bargains. The expensive stuff is in Mumbai. It's fun just to look around and see what's for sale. There's always unusual things. Peacock feathers, anybody? Certainly a colorful place. Being a tourist spot, there are numerous snack places offering local fare. But the sun has already set, and it's time to leave. We have seen just another facet of this great nation. After arriving back in Ludhiana from Shimla the night before, we're about to catch the early morning Amritsar Shatabdi Express to Delhi. Our remarkable journey is coming to an end. Fortunately, in the luxury of the executive class carriage. That includes breakfast, Indian Railways coffee, which is actually Nescafe, and a nap. 4 hours and 18 minutes later, to the minute, we arrive, exactly on time. The early morning fog still lingering. Some people have commented about my films of India that they get a totally different impression of India to what they previously held. But this facet of India is still here. It's part of the deal. The pollution, the dust, the crowds, the smells. In some ways, it's a very important part. 1.3 billion people getting on with life. A nation emerging from poverty and turmoil, a hard-working nation at that. I'm blessed. Joginder is waiting for us. And I have to say that the Indian roads are not as chaotic as they are said to be. They are much more chaotic than that. The lane markings on roads, I think, are just for show. My favorite Indian road safety slogan, don't lose your head to gain a minute. You need your head. Your brain is in it. So not unusual that our journey to amazing India ends in chaotic, polluted Delhi.
We're in a motor rickshaw in the middle of Delhi in Connaught Centre and heading for Barbecue Nation. It's an experience.
If I miss India, it's this part of it I miss. When I race around Connaught Circle in a motor rickshaw, I know I'm back. Some amusing signs here. So thanks for the memory. And I'll be back.